Guntur, busy and bustling. It is Andhra Pradesh's third largest city. Located right at the center of the state, it's an old economic hub. Famous for its red chilies, among the spiciest in the world. But it is also one of India's most challenging and tough districts, especially for promoting awareness. With a literacy rate of just 68%, creating vaccine awareness is not easy.
In the rural areas, most of the public are unaware actually precautionary measures.
For these people, vaccination is not a priority.
Distance is one of the key challenge.
Some villages there is no transportation facilities.
Pandemic has disturbed all sectors of people, landless people. It has affected them very badly.
The temperatures and weather is definitely not conducive for a lot of field work.
It doesn't happen in other states of India, but only in Andhra it happens.
And yet, we have consciously chosen to work in the direst of conditions. We're here to reach out to those who really need support. For 60 days, the Sanjeevani ki Gaadi, covering over 7,500 kilometers, traveling to some of the state's remotest villages. Network 18 and Federal Bank's vaccine awareness campaign against COVID-19, Sanjeevani, a shot of life, now in the district of Guntur in Andhra Pradesh.
From last 2 months, Sanjeevani van covered in 120 villages in 50 mandals. So those villages are very backward villages, and most of the communities are Thanda communities. So most of the people are uneducated and backward.
Sarikondapalam, a village deep inside Guntur district. 65% of the population is from the scheduled caste and tribal communities. With a literacy rate of just 40%, spreading vaccine awareness here is of utmost importance. Vaccinate against COVID-19, the compelling message of the Sanjeevani anthem, in Telugu, the local language. With Sonu Sood, actor and campaign ambassador, hitting the right note to help convince the crowds. Handouts with information about COVID-19, the process to get vaccinated, and do's and don'ts about COVID-appropriate behavior also shared with the people.
जॉन बाबू, आपने क्या वैक्सीन लगा दिया?
लगाया सर।
दोनों डोज?
दो डोज।
कोई डर नहीं है?
नहीं डर नहीं।
पूरा फैमिली ने लगा दिया?
पूरा फैमिली।
आपके अपने
हमारे को फैमिली, हमारे को ग्राम में 50 मन के डोज मरे।
अच्छा, 50%?
50 मंदी।
आपने कन्विंस कर दिया?
क्या उन्हें डर नहीं पड़ते।
अच्छा, ओके।
डर के चमके वो तो टैंक भरे।
अच्छा, वेरी गुड वेरी गुड। और आपने भी, आपका हो गया? अच्छा, आपका हो गया? ओके।
As we're about to leave, we meet Sarojini and Kotibai, who after much prodding reveal they haven't got immunized.
अस्फिया, इन्होंने वैक्सीन नहीं लगवाया है?
नहीं लगवाया सर।
अच्छा, आप थोड़ा पूछेंगे क्या कारण?
మీరు ఎందుకు వేయించుకోలేదు వ్యాక్సిన్? నిన్నైతే వేసినారు, ఇంటికి అడగలేదు। घर के पास कोई नहीं था, इसलिए वो वैक्सीन नहीं डलाले।
अच्छा, और इनका?
మీరు ఎందుకు వేయించుకోలేదండి వ్యాక్సిన్? నాకు ఇంటికి అడగలేరు और वो डर के घर के पास कोई लोग नहीं थे, इसलिए वो वैक्सीन नहीं डला। उनके फैमिली मेंबर्स में एक आदमी वैक्सीन डलवाए। वो आदमी को बहुत तेज फीवर, बॉडी पेन्स, हेडेक हो पूरा, इसलिए वो नहीं डलवा ली।
अच्छा, आप थोड़ा समझाएंगे कि वैक्सीन लगाने के बाद फीवर नॉर्मल है, थोड़ा समझा दीजिए।
మీరు వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకోవాలండి, ఎందుకంటే వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకుంటే సరే ఇప్పుడు కరోనా మీకు రాలేదు, ఒకవేళ రేపు ఎలా ఉంటుందో మీకు తెలియదు.
One of the main features of the campaign is to offer one-on-one counseling sessions to help clear doubts and misconceptions. And nearly 4,500 people have benefited from this outreach effort.
When she takes the vaccine, if she gets fever, it means that the vaccine is working. Okay. Can you tell her?
All it takes is a little patience and some time. And then the two young women converted from being vaccine hesitant to now being ready to get their shot of life.
Yeah, can you ask them both if they are willing to take vaccinations now?
మీరిద్దరు వ్యాక్సిన్ ఇప్పుడు తీసుకోవడానికి రెడీగా ఉన్నారండి? మేము నిన్ననే వేయించుకునే దాని కానీ మా ఇంట్లో మా కోడలు అదే మీరు కనుక వేసే వాళ్ళు వస్తే ఇప్పుడు వేపించుకుంటారు కదా రెడీ సహే
both तैयार हैं
ఇద్దరు
दोनों
both.
Okay, great.
Perhaps no one understands better the value of vaccines than 30-year-old Jayamma. During the second wave in April this year, her 33-year-old husband Satyam contracted COVID-19. In just days, his condition turned for the worse and he succumbed to the deadly infection, leaving behind 2 young children and his wife.
మా ఆయనకి పక్క వాళ్ళ ఇంట్లో నుంచి వచ్చింది. అయితే మెడిసిన్ హాస్పిటల్కి తీసుకెళ్ళాం. చెకప్ చేసి కరోనా పాజిటివ్ అని చెప్పారు. చెప్పడంతో హోమ్ క్వారంటైన్ 5 రోజులు మెడిసిన్ వాడుకోమన్నారు. మెడిసిన్ వాడడం 5th డే నైట్ చనిపోయారు.
It all happened too suddenly. There was no time to even hospitalize him, and he died at home. But Satyam could have beaten the virus and survived.
మా ఆయన ఆటో డ్రైవరు. గవర్నమెంట్ వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకోమని ఆటో డ్రైవర్లకు ఇచ్చారు. కానీ మా ఆయన భయపడి వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకోలేదు. వేయించుకున్నట్టయితే ఈరోజు మా పక్కన ఉండేవారు.
संजीवनी कैंपेन बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है क्योंकि सब लोगों को वैक्सीन का अवेयरनेस बताने से सब लोगों का लाइफ बच जाता है.
మా ఆయనకి 33 సంవత్సరాలు కరోనా వల్ల చనిపోయాడు. వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకున్నట్టుంటే బ్రతికి ఉండేవారు. దయచేసి అందరూ వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకోండి. ఎవరి ప్రాణాలను రక్షించుకోండి.
Vaccination across India began slowly, and then it has gathered pace and the momentum continues. The Sanjeevani campaign back in Kondapalam village to pick up vaccine-eager villagers. We then transport them in a minibus to the nearest government vaccination centre.
Some villages there is no transportation facilities, so that in those villages we should arrange one transport vehicle, so that around in each vehicle 15 to 20 members. After that beneficiary got the vaccination, then our vehicle come back to those villages.
At the vaccination centre, each one of them photographed, registered and then vaccinated. Many of them getting their first dose after their hesitancy was tackled by Sanjeevani's social activists.
జ్వరాలు వస్తాయేమో అని మేము వేయించుకోలే. ఒకరోజు మా తండాకి సంజీవిని యాన్ వచ్చి మీకేం కాదు, జ్వరాలు రావు, ఏం రావు, మీకు ఎటువంటి హానికరం లేదు, మీరు వేయించుకోండి, ఏ ప్రమాదం ఉండదు అని వాళ్ళు వచ్చి మాకు చెప్పారు. అందుకని అలా వాళ్ళే చెప్పి వాళ్ళు సంజీవిని యాన్లో తీసుకొచ్చి మాకు వాళ్ళే రియాక్షన్ వేయించారు.
వాళ్ళు వచ్చి మీటింగ్ పెట్టి మాకు చెప్పినాక మాకు ధైర్యం వచ్చి మేము యాక్షన్ చేయించుకున్నాము. మేము ఇదివరకు మాత్రం అసలు చేయించుకోలేదని భయపడి వాళ్ళందరూ వాళ్ళు వీళ్ళు చెప్పేసరికి మాకు భయం వచ్చి మేము వాళ్ళు అక్కడ చేస్తున్నారంటే భయపడి మేము వెనక్కి వెళ్ళిపోయేవాళ్ళం. నిన్న మీటింగ్ పెట్టి వాళ్ళు వచ్చి చెప్పేసరికి మాకు ధైర్యం వచ్చి ముందుకు వచ్చి మేము యాక్షన్ చేయించుకున్నాం. థ్యాంక్ యూ.
మరి సంజీవిని వ్యాన్ ద్వారా ఆ షో జరిగినప్పుడు చాలామంది దానికి ఇన్స్పైర్ అయ్యి వాళ్ళలో ఉన్న భయాలు అపోహలన్నీ కూడా పక్కన పెట్టి వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకోవడానికి ఇష్టపడి వచ్చి ఇక్కడ వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకున్నారండి.
Their doubts dispelled, the beneficiaries now better protected against the highly communicable disease.
సంజీవ్ వాళ్ళు వచ్చి మాకు వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకోండి అని చెప్పి మాకు ఇప్పుడు ఎవరు రాలా, వచ్చి వాళ్ళు వచ్చి చాలా మాకు వేయించుకోండి అని చెప్పి మేము భయపడి వేయించుకోకపోతే వేయించారు. వాళ్ళకి చాలా చాలా ధన్యవాదాలు, కృతజ్ఞతలు.
While the Sanjeevani campaign is here to support, no one can replace those already on the ground.
During this pandemic, there have been many people, be it Asha or Anganwadi workers, ANMs or medical supervisors. Many of them have gone beyond the call of duty and dedicated themselves in service of the people. Let's go meet these exceptional workers who are Andhra Pradesh's Sanjeevani champions.
It's late evening, but Mary Pushpa still doing her rounds. For the past few years, the mid-level health provider has been posted here in Chintalapudi village. Responsible for nearly 10,000 people when the pandemic struck, Mary among the first to get infected.
From last year onwards, I am doing COVID activities. At that time, last year I got, in this COVID activities, I got positive. Then immediately after 14 days, I came into my duties without rest.
And then when cases skyrocketed during the second wave, Mary chose to be with her people, extending her day, routinely working 14 to 16 hours.
Every day I used to do COVID activities like contact tracing and COVID testing and triaging also. We will categorize the patient and we will shift the and we will arrange transport and we will shift the cases. And in COVID every day we used to do 70 to 80 COVID tests. I worked from morning 8 o'clock to evening night 10 o'clock. And I worked hard for this village because my village should be healthy and it should be corona-free village.
Karishma Sheikh is just 20 years old. A college student, a few months ago her life turned upside down. At her home in Chilla Kaluripet, the atmosphere somber. It all started a few months ago when coronavirus struck her family, infecting 3 members.
Me and my mother and my grandmother tested positive. Then we went to hospital. Me and my grandmother are safe. My mother has breathing problem. Then we admitted in hospital. She has damaged 60% of her lungs and 15% of COVID.
Her mother Mastani had no other illness, but her condition remained constantly precarious. Then the situation worsened, with the family running from hospital to hospital in search of oxygen.
After 10 days, there is no oxygen. Then we took to a government hospital. There is also no oxygen. Then we took to another private hospital. There is no oxygen. So we came back to home. Then we took, after oxygen has finished, we took it. She immediately died.
Karishma survived, so did her grandmother. But her mother, just 37 years old, died from COVID-19. And the family understands why.
मैं टीका लिए सो 2 महीने को मुझे कोरोना आया. मेरे भाऊ नहीं लिए, मेरे भाऊ गुजर गए. मुझे टीका डालने बाद में कोरोना आया तो भी मेरी जान खराब हुआ नहीं. मुझे अच्छा है, मैं घर में थी.
Mastani wasn't vaccine hesitant. She was ready to take the jab. But at that time, Andhra Pradesh was not vaccinating those above 18 years. The family's experience heartbreaking, but it has now been turned into an example for others.
This is the concrete example to show, because the senior citizens who have taken the vaccine, they survived. And whereas other people who have not taken vaccine, they got the virus and they expired. So this is we have the clear cases of that in our area, and our health workers are taking that to the people and educating them to that and convincing the people to go for vaccination.
It's over a year, the entire world has moved on to wearing masks. Health experts say it is one of the most efficient ways of protecting oneself from COVID-19. And yet, many have stopped, especially in smaller towns and villages. Nagababu, a victim of the same mindset, learnt the hard way. The 28-year-old labourer revealed after working the entire day he would spend the evening with his friends. And that was at a time when he did not take COVID-19 seriously.
నేను మాస్క్ పెట్టుకోకుండా తిరగటం వల్ల కరోనా వచ్చిందండి. మేము అంతగా ఊహించలేదు వచ్చిందని. అంతగా కరోనా నా వల్ల నాకు వచ్చి మళ్ళీ మా ఫ్యామిలీకి కూడా అట్లా వచ్చింది. మా ఫ్రెండ్స్ ద్వారా తిరగటం వల్ల ఇట్లా కరోనా వచ్చింది.
His mother Nagendram, his father Adaya, and he, all 3 caught the virus. Though his father was just 47 years old, he was compromised as he was immobile after suffering a paralytic stroke. Moreover, none of them were vaccinated.
మా ఆయనకి పక్షవాతం వచ్చింది. పక్షవాతం వస్తే మందులు వేసాము. మందులు వేస్తే దానివల్ల మాకు తెలియక కరోనా వచ్చింది. కరోనా వస్తే చూపించిన తర్వాత హాస్పిటల్కి తీసుకెళ్దామంటే ఎవరు హెల్ప్ చేసేవాడు లేరు. లేకపోతే దానిలో కరోనా వచ్చింది, చచ్చిపోయాడు.
In the rural areas, most of the public are unaware actually precautionary measures. So that reason these people are commuting to other areas for regular work. So that reason these people are innocently infected with COVID infection. In this desperate situation, this Sanjeevani project might be useful and to sensitize the public to wear the mask, gloves and practice the prevention measures as well as to come for the vaccination.
Guntur is a vast district. Travelling to 120 villages in 60 days is not easy.
Distance is one of the key challenge. I would say our teams are traveling 60-70 kilometers one way every day. This extends their day from 6 o'clock in the morning to sometimes 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the night. Their families are keeping up with the kind of risk they're putting themselves by being on the field during an ongoing pandemic. Secondly, I would say the temperatures and weather is definitely not conducive for a lot of field work.
Weather is also a challenge because even you can see in the monsoon time, it is in August, we are having 37 degrees of temperature even now. It is the same thing. It doesn't happen in other states of India, but only in Andhra it happens.
If that was not hard enough, creating vaccine awareness has its own set of challenges.
But main problem is our target community, who are the landless families and who depend on the daily wages for their survival. For these families, for this population, the main problem is because it is not a priority. Our outreach workers are facing a lot of difficulties in convincing them and bringing them to the vaccination centers.
It is in these conditions that the Sanjeevani team works relentlessly on the ground, sharing the importance and benefits of vaccinating against COVID-19. How to register on the online portal and crucially breaking myths and dispelling rumors that have reached the people.
మరి మా గ్రామానికి ఈ యొక్క సంజీవిని అనే ఈ వ్యాను వచ్చినందుకు మాకు చాలా హ్యాపీగా ఉంది. 45 years 18 members ఏబో వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకున్నారు. ఇక 18 years వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయలేదు. వాళ్ళకి వ్యాక్సిన్ వస్తే కంపల్సరీగా వేయించుకోవడానికి మేము రెడీగా ఉన్నాం.
మా గ్రామంలో 2200 జనాభా ఉన్నారు. అందులో 80 మందికి కరోనా వచ్చింది, 2 చనిపోయారు. ఫస్ట్ కరోనా వేసుకోవడానికి భయపడ్డారు, 80% అయిపోయింది. ఇంకా 20% ఉన్నారు 45 సంవత్సరాల వాళ్ళు.
Earlier they have very misconceptions. Now it is a little bit reducing, and because of this motivation, so the people are utilizing the vaccination services and they are coming to the government established vaccination centers. So I hope this e-Sanjeevani project in future is very much helpful to the people.
Young mothers and pregnant women getting vaccinated at a school in Karalapalam village. Taking into confidence and motivating these young women is Yashoda Devi. In simple language, she explains to them that vaccines are safe and they have saved millions of lives across the world. And then she also supervises their vaccination.
యశోద మేడం గారు కరోనా వ్యాక్సిన్ గురించి వివరించడం వల్ల మేడం గారు మమ్మల్ని మోటివేషన్ చేయడం వల్ల 2 వ్యాక్సిన్లు వేయించుకున్నాము. అంతా బాగుంది. ధన్యవాదాలు.
మనం కోవిడ్ వ్యాక్సిన్ వేయించుకోవడం వలన కరోనా అనేది రాకుండా ఉంటుంది. ఒకవేళ వచ్చినా త్వరగా తగ్గిపోయే శక్తి ఉంటుంది.
3 months back, my husband and children are suffered with COVID. So this duration of 3 months period, we take the now vaccine is taken from me. I successfully and happily completed my Covaxin.
Yashoda Devi is among Andhra Pradesh's senior-most frontline health workers. The 57-year-old multi-purpose female supervisor heads a team of over a dozen auxiliary nurse midwives. The women, better known as ANMs, are the ones who vaccinate citizens against COVID-19 and other diseases. It was during the pandemic that Yashoda led by example. Battling various health issues, she stepped up, risking her own life.
ఈ కరోనా వచ్చినప్పుడు అవేర్నెస్ చేస్తూ ఉండగా నేను కోవిడ్ పాజిటివ్ అయ్యాను. ఈ కోవిడ్ పాజిటివ్ అయిన దగ్గర క్వారంటైన్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత నేను మరలా డ్యూటీలోకి జాయిన్ అయ్యి వెంటనే నా టీం మెంబర్స్ అందరినీ తీసుకొని వ్యాక్సినేషన్ గురించి, శానిటైజర్ గురించి, మాస్కుల గురించి.
But what makes Yashoda unique is that she went beyond the call of duty. Fruits, vegetables, greens, millet, chickpea and grains, healthy food for those who can't afford, all from her own money.
కరోనా పేషెంట్లకి, లెప్రసీ, టీబీ కేసులకి, ప్రెగ్నెంట్ మదర్స్కి నా శాలరీ నుండి 20% వాళ్ళకి ఇస్తున్నాను న్యూట్రిషన్ డైట్ రూపేణ.
यशोदा मैडम बहुत अच्छी थी. उन्हें हर लोग को भी साथ रहते, हर हाल में भी सबको भी कोसे के थोड़ा बहुत उनका हाथ से उनका पर्सनल उनका सैलरी में से छोटे मोटे आदमी को देने का हेल्पिंग करते. कोरोना में भी बहुत हेल्प करे. कोरोना आए सो पेशेंट भी बहुत हेल्प करे. उनको हाथ से चावल न्यूट्रिशन वो पूरा तमाम दिलाई.
The practice started a few years ago when she met a pregnant woman who was highly malnourished. Disturbed by the grim reality, she began giving nutritious food to those who were sick and couldn't afford it. Today, the large-hearted supervisor feeds 40 people every month, spending over 20,000 rupees from her salary. For her selflessness and generosity, Yashoda is our Sanjeevani champion. Guntur district had over 1.6 lakh people infected by COVID-19 and nearly 1,200 citizens have died. While 93% of those above 45 years have been vaccinated, the state has just started vaccinating those in the 18+ category.
Network 18 channel చాలా ఫెడరల్ బ్యాంకు మరి సంజీవని ప్రాజెక్ట్ని మా బొల్లాపల్లి మండలానికి తీసుకొచ్చి చాలా బ్రహ్మాండంగా సక్సెస్ఫుల్గా ఆర్గనైజేషన్ చేసి సక్సెస్ఫుల్ చేసినందుకు థ్యాంక్స్ చెప్పుకుంటూ, అలాగే నెట్వర్క్ 18 ఫెడరల్ బ్యాంకు చాలా విలేజెస్లో దాదాపుగా 5 డిస్ట్రిక్ట్స్ 1000 విలేజెస్ సర్వీస్ సంజీవిని. చాలా థ్యాంక్స్ అండి.
രാഷ്ട്രീയം 140 കോടി ജനതയുടെ ജീവിതത്തെ തൊടുന്ന വിധം. പാടത്ത് വിളയുന്നതും പണിയിടത്തിൽ സംഭവിക്കുന്നതും. ഇന്ത്യ എന്ന വൈവിധ്യത്തിന്റെ കലവറയിലൂടെ. ന്യൂസ് 18 ഇന്ത്യ എല്ലാ ഞായറാഴ്ചയും രാവിലെ 9:30 രാത്രി 7:30.